Hello everybody, my name is Ismael. I'll be performing the PTI for the YUMA school. Alright, so first thing I'm going to start with my general appearance of the truck. I'm going to check that the truck is not leaning from one side to the other, indicating there's a flat tire or bad suspension. Next, I'll be checking for my 5 clearance lights. They need to be amber in color when illuminated. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, and they are working properly. Next, I'll be checking my windshield. I'll be checking for any cracks or any damage. Make sure it's properly mounted, secured. I'm also going to check my side mirrors to make sure they are properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. I'm also going to check my headlights. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, clean, clear, and both my high and my low beams need to be working properly. Next, on the side, I'll be checking for my marker lights, turn signals, 4-way flashers, and my reflectors, amber in color, and they need to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. And also, I'll be checking underneath my engine compartment. I need to check for any puddles. I need to make sure there's no hanging hoses, belts, or any wires. And that's just on the front of my truck. On the side here, we have a amber in color marker light, turn signal, 4-way flasher, amber in color when illuminated, properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Next, we're going to be checking our door. Got to make sure it opens and closes properly. Hinges are good, bolts are present and tight. I'm also going to check for my weather seal, both in my door and my frame. Make sure they're not dry rotted or torn and they're in good working condition. Next, I'll be checking my side compartment. Here in my side compartment, I should have 3 things. First is my fire extinguisher. It needs to be properly mounted, secured. Needle should be pointing on the green, indicating it's fully charged and ready for use. Alright, next I have this red box. Inside this red box, I should have 3 red reflector DOT triangles. They need to be in good working condition. Also, I should have some spare fuses. I need to have at least 1 fuse for each amperage in the fuse box. Alright, now we are going to move on to the engine compartment. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to be checking is my oil dipstick. It needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking. I'll be checking that my oil fluid level is between the add and the full for a good check. Now, next I'll be checking my coolant reservoir. It needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking. Fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum, and my lid needs to be on tight, not leaking. I'll be checking my water hoses. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking, with no abrasions. Alright, that leads me to my water pump. I need to make sure it's properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight, and it is belt driven. I'll be talking more about it when I'm over on the other side of the engine compartment. Alright, now I'll be checking my power steering fluid reservoir. Needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight, not leaking. Also, my cap is on tight, not leaking. I'll be checking my hoses, my power steering hoses. Got to make sure there's no frays or any cuts, not leaking, and properly mounted. If I follow my power steering hose, it'll take me to my power steering pump. It also needs to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, not leaking. Piggyback to it is my air compressor. My air compressor needs to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, and not leaking. By the way, both my air compressor and my power steering pump are both gear driven. From my air compressor, I'll be checking my air lines. Here, my firewall, I need to make sure they're properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, not leaking. I'll be checking my steer shaft, make sure it's not bent, broken, or damaged, and I have good U-joints, and they need to be properly lubricated at both ends. Alright, so next I'll be moving on to my steer box. This needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are all present and tight. It's not leaking or cracked. Alright, just moving on to my steering components. We got our pitman arm, drag link, steering arm, steering knuckle, and tie rod. Everything needs to be properly mounted, secured with castle nuts and cotter pins. They can't be broken or bent. And at the end of my drag link, I need to check my ball joints. They need to be properly lubricated and not damaged. Alright, and that'll be on my driver's side engine compartment. Moving on to the passenger side. Alright, my passenger side. I've got some more hoses. I'm going to check for any abrasions or any cuts. They need to be properly secured and not leaking. I'll be checking my alternator. My alternator needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Working properly, bolts are present and tight. I'll be checking that my wires are on tight with no corrosion. It is also belt driven, and I need to check for my belt that it has no more than 3/4 of an inch of slack for a good check. Next, I'll be checking my heat shield and my exhaust. Both need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight. My exhaust cannot be leaking. An indication would be some soot or black carbon, so I gotta watch out for that. Next, I'll be checking my frame. I need to make sure it's not cracked, bent, or broken, especially here at the mounts. All bolts are present and tight. Now my suspension, I got my leaf mounts, leaf springs, and U-bolts. They all need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, and my bolts need to be present and tight. Next, I'll be checking my shock absorber mounts. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts need to be present and tight, both at the top and on the bottom. My shock absorber body cannot be damaged or leaking. Next, I'll be checking my brake lines and my brake chamber. Both properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking. Next, I'll be checking my push rod and my slack adjuster. Both properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, and cannot have more than 1 inch of slack. Next, I'll be moving on to my brake drum, brake shoes. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, clean of grease and oil, and my brake shoes cannot have less than 1/4 inch of material. Moving on to my tire. I'll be checking for my tire thread. Cannot be less than 4/32 of an inch. I need to check that it's evenly worn. It is not damaged in any other way. Next, I'll be checking my sidewalls, tire sidewalls. I'm gonna check for any cuts or gouges, for any type of damage, and I'm gonna check that it's properly inflated to the manufacturer's indication stated on the tire wall. And I'll be using an air gauge to check for my tire pressure. Next, I'll be checking my wheel. I need to make sure it's not damaged, broken, or any illegal welds, and all my lug nuts are present and tight, properly mounted. And I'm also going to check my hub oil seal, make sure it's properly mounted, secure, not damaged, bolts are present and tight, not leaking. And I'll be checking for my oil level, make sure it's filled to the proper level. And that'll conclude my engine compartment, and we are going to move onto the back of the truck. Checking on the back of my trailer, on my truck, sorry. Starting at the top, I've got two 90 degrees white in color DOD tape, reflector tape. Needs to be in good working condition, properly mounted, secured. Halfway, I've got my two cargo lights. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, working properly, white in color, but red is also acceptable. Alright, next I'll be checking my air lines. they need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking. Here at the truck, I'll be checking my lines all the way to my trailer for any cuts or gouges, and they are secured at the glad hands. They need to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or leaking. Next, I'll be checking my power cord. It needs to be pushed in all the way at the trailer. I'm gonna check for any cuts or any bare wire showing or any splices. I'm also gonna check that it's all the way pushed in at my truck. All right, for a good check, and it needs to be properly suspended. Make sure it's not dragging on the floor or anything, so it won't get damaged. Next, I'll be checking my fuel tank. I need to make sure it's not cracked or broken, not leaking, properly mounted. I'm going to be checking my fuel cap, make sure it closes on tight and does not leak. Next, I'll be checking my saddle straps. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight. I'm also going to be checking my fuel lines. They're at the bottom. Make sure they're not cracked, broken, or leaking, properly mounted and secured. Next, I'll be checking my steps, my catwalk. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight. I'll be checking for my frame. I need to make sure it's not bent, cracked, or broken, and it's in good condition. Next, I'll be checking my my drive shaft. My drive shaft cannot be bent and broken. It's properly mounted, secured. It's got a good U-joint that's properly lubricated as well. Alright. And I've got my heat stack and my heat shield. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, not leaking. Indicator would be some soot or the black carbon. Got to check out for that. Alright, moving on to my drive axles. I'll be checking my drive axles the same way I check my steering axles, with the following differences. We've got a torque rod. It needs to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. U-joints are good, properly lubricated. We've got some airbags. They need to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged, broken, or leaking. Alright, slack adjusters. I'm allowed to have 2 inches of free play. And I'll be checking my wheels. They need to be flush and tight, no foreign objects in between them. And I'm also going to check for my tire thread. It cannot have less than 2/32 of an inch of tire thread. Alright, and I'll be checking my axle seal, hub oil seal. Make sure bolts are present and tight, not cracked or damaged, not leaking. I'll be checking my second drive axles the same way I check my first drive axles, with no exceptions. Alright, next I'll be checking my fifth wheel gear. I'll be checking the trailer's apron, make sure it's properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, no broken welds. I'll be checking my fifth wheel skid plate, make sure it's properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. It needs to be properly lubricated, and there cannot be any gap between the apron and the fifth wheel skid plate. Also, I'll be checking my mounting plate. It's properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. Bolts are present and tight. I'll be checking for my mounting bolts. They all need to be present and tight, not bent, broken, or missing. Alright, I'm going to be checking also my fifth wheel locking pins. Make sure they're properly protruded through their slot. And also I'll be checking for my fifth wheel release handle. It needs to be pushed in and locked for a good check. Moving on to the back of my truck, I'll be checking for my locking jaw. Make sure it's closed around the shank of my kingpin, and I need to make sure my kingpin is not damaged. Back here we've got 2 red lights. They need to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, working properly. They function as my tail light, brake light, turn signal, 4-way flashers. We should also have 2 red reflectors. They need to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. Also, we've got one white light. Needs to be properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, and that serves as my reverse light. I'm also going to check my brackets and my mud flaps, make sure they are properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken. And it is required to have white and red DOD tape running along the side of my mud flap or my brackets. While I'm down here, I'll be checking my frame and my cross members. Need to make sure they are properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, or any broken welds. I'm also going to be checking my flooring. Going to make sure there are no holes or any type of damage. Alright. I'm going to be checking my landing gear. Need to make sure that it's properly mounted, secured, not damaged, bolts are present and tight. I need to make sure my landing gear feet are fully retracted, and my crank handle needs to be working properly and properly stowed away. Now checking my trailer, I'm going to make sure I should have white and red DOD tape running along the side of the trailer. It needs to cover at least 50% of the width of the trailer. Alright, on this trailer, well, this is a flatbed, but we usually do a trailer. I should have a registration box, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. Need to make sure my front panel is no holes or any type of damage. I need to make sure my headers are present and tight, not damaged. And I should have amber in color clearance lights, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. And at the bottom, 2 amber in color reflector lights, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken.
One on each side.
One on each side, yes sir. Moving towards the back of the trailer. Alright, at the middle of the trailer, I got this reflector, marker light, turn signal, 4-way flasher, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, working properly. Alright, so we're going to talk about our tandems. On a trailer, this is a flatbed, but on a trailer, I have my tandem sliding rail. That needs to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, no broken welds. We've got our tandem locking pins, make sure they're fully protruding through their slot. And we got our tandem release handle, it needs to be pushed in and locked. Alright, checking now our trailer axles. I'll be checking my trailer axle the same way I check my drive axles, with the following exceptions. On my trailer axles, there are no airbags, there are no shocks, and I'll be checking my hub oil seal. Make sure it's properly mounted, secured, bolts are present and tight, and when applicable, I'll be able to check my oil level at the hub oil. Okay. And I'll be checking my second trailer axle the same way I checked my first trailer axle, with no exceptions. Alright, at the back of the trailer, I'll be checking, I should have an amber in color ABS light, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. Function of that is whenever it's lit, it's indicating there's a problem with the ABS. I've got 2 red reflector lights, marker lights, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken at both ends. I'm also going to be checking my brackets and my mud flaps. Same way I check my other bracket and mud flaps, with the exception that it is not required to have white and red DOD tape running along the side of it. Alright, moving on to the back of the trailer. I've got 3 red clearance lights. They need to be properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, and they are working properly. I've got 4 red lights, properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken, and they function as my tail light, brake lights, turn signal, and 4-way flashers. I should also have white and red DOD tape running along the side of the trailer. I have 1 white license plate light, properly mounted, secured, not damaged or broken, and working properly. Next, I'll be checking my DOD DOT bumper. And make sure it's properly mounted, secured, not excessively bent or excessively damaged. And it also should have white and red DOT tape running along the side of the bumper. Alright. On a trailer, I would also be checking my door. Make sure it's properly mounted, secure, not damaged or broken. I should have two 90-degree DOT tape, white in color, present. Also, I'll be checking that my latches are working properly. Make sure they're not damaged. They open and close properly. And on this side of the trailer, I'll be checking it the same way. I'll check the other side of the trailer.
And just like the front, the side and the back, all the panels, no damage.